Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Women Together Connect. My name is Antoinette, and I am our host, and I am so pleased to see so many familiar faces. So warm welcome to all of us who come every week, and those who may be new joining us today, a warm welcome. It's Tuesday, and for many of us, it's noon Eastern, but for many of us, we are coming from all over the world today. So if you'd like to put in a chat where you're coming from, you can just type in a little note. I already see many sharing already. I see Long Island, the Bronx, Winchester, Massachusetts, Katona, New York. So we have a lot of New York in the chat already, but let's see where everyone's coming from. Queens, Chicago, North Reading, Massachusetts, Nyack, Vienna. Wonderful. So there's a number of us coming in from all over the place. Felton, California, bright and early. So a warm welcome to all, wherever you may be coming from. And it really is just such a joy and a pleasure to host our Women Together Connect weekly gatherings. It's a time to just land in ourselves and our own bodies and just reconnect with ourselves. Often, many of us are running around, going to the next thing, engaging with a lot of people. And this one little hour gives a sense of just peace, just landing. And sometimes that also means really connecting with each other and finding a group of people that we can connect with beyond the everyday kind of top of the, how are you doing kind of just very, very muted sort of way of talking to each other. We go into a level of depth here. I'm just also picking up on the others coming in New Jersey, a few from Canada. So it's just wonderful to be together today and to share with each other this wonderful space. So a warm welcome to all. And as we do this, we'll just land here with some tiny practices. So our tiny practices are a chance to just do exactly what I spoke about before, reconnect, but in a little way. So that could be a moment of stillness. It could be tuning into the breath. It could be choosing how we listen to each other. Last week, we practiced generous listening. So it could just be choosing how we show up, listening to each other and listening to ourselves, listening to our bodies. So it could be just a tiny practice, maybe a minute in the day, a few minutes in the day, something that you can do, whether you're sitting with a group of people or you're alone, you can just take a moment. So we'll just do a moment of stillness here. And the idea is to just get your feet on the ground, if that's possible for you. Feel a sense of your feet on the floor. And even just feeling a sense of your feet on the floor, you might notice a difference, just that. And maybe just pay attention to that for right now. Just feeling the sense of the feet on the floor. So we often have our feet on the floor, but we're often not paying attention to our feet on the floor. We have our attention going in a million different directions. And so having just the attention, the awareness of the feet on the floor. Just tuning into the breath, perhaps closing the eyes or lowering the gaze. And it may seem silly or mundane. That's the word I was looking for before. It might seem just like, oh, okay, my feet are on the floor. Yeah, that's nice. Great, Antoinette. What else do you have to say? And the idea of actually having our feet on the floor and paying attention to our feet on the floor begins to ground us. So perhaps you have socks or shoes on and you can feel a sense of connection from the feet to the socks, to the shoes, to the floor, and perhaps even to beneath the floor somewhere, the earth. I'm just feeling a sense of connection to that sustaining body, this body of planet Earth that nurtures us, that brings life forth, that life springs from it. Maybe just connecting for a moment to the place that you're in. So you may have shared it in the chat, but just recognizing this place, this little piece of earth right now, that this is the piece of earth that we're connected to. So just landing in that place. Lots of people look for a little piece of earth to be connected to. And just feeling a sense of flow between the earth body and between the human body. Just breathing into that connection. And perhaps becoming aware of those who may have walked this earth before us. Who may have tended to this place that we may be in. Maybe just feeling a sense of gratitude, noticing what's there, but if there is a little gratitude, tuning into that. Gratitude for being in this body, on this earth body, being able to connect in this way. And then for a moment, just tuning into what brought you here today. Today, we're going to focus on softening and strengthening. So how we can soften in order to strengthen. And just feel into maybe even the juxtaposition that might bring up, or anything that may have brought you here to this space, having to do with the topic or theme, or just to connect with each other. When you're ready, you can type in the chat what your intention is today. So what brought you here, or what do you hope to have happen? And you can type into the chat. I love this. Anne wrote loaning, and I could take it as longing, or also the lone energy that brings us together to connect. So thanks, Anne, for the provocative word there. See, my intention is to soften, sense what softening does to my body. Love this community. It's good to have you here, Isabella. And if you're on YouTube, you can type in the comment section. I see a few of us in Baltimore and Owatonna, Minnesota. And I love the two in the YouTube have shared, those two in the YouTube shared, they're both looking at bodies of water. So just bringing that in here, embracing the feminine energy, loving the idea of soften and stronger, connecting and learning from these beautiful ladies. There is so much wisdom in this room, Beth. Every time we have a session, I am just overjoyed to sense into that wisdom and to learn from each other. I see soften, less intensity. I was speaking with a friend 2 days ago, or yesterday, 2 days ago, I don't know, it's all blurring for me, but she was saying, people just find me so serious. I'm so serious all the time. I just want to lighten up. How to soften in tough times, and trying sobriety and needing peace. I love that. I love sobriety, and I love that, when we need peace, that we can turn to each other, and we can turn to the space of reconnection, being receptive. Softening and understanding what that means in my body. Awareness of softness and intensity. So Lily, I love that it's not one or the other, and it's not the juxtaposition. It's an awareness. Both can be happening at the same time. Yeah, so we'll dive more into this topic a little bit, but before we do, I just want to invite all of us to connect. So if you're in Zoom, you can go onto the gallery mode, which I love anyway, because I love seeing all of your faces. And so we can just go into gallery, and if you can be on video now is a good time. And we'll just take in who's here and maybe send out a little welcome. So knowing that we each have this intention for being here, some of it may be the same, some may be different, but just welcoming. So you can maybe pick a few boxes in our Zoom screen and just send a warm, heartfelt welcome to these wonderful women. Warm, heartfelt welcome. And then as you send that welcome, also being able and open, if possible today, to receiving that welcome. And just noticing, am I capable of receiving today? Is that where I'm at? But just recognizing that the welcome is both being sent and it's being received. And I love the little waves that started to come through. We recognize someone, or we all of a sudden we see each other. We begin to feel each other. Wonderful. So I love our little community here today, both here on Zoom and on YouTube. Again, a welcome and a landing here. What I'd like to invite us to do is just to dive into a little practice on what softening and strengthening means. And then invite those of us in Zoom to connect with each other and just share a little bit of what came up for them in the practice. So I'll just share a little bit of my thinking, and then we'll move into a little practice, and then we'll take time to connect with each other about it. And so for me, actually this was brought up by one of our team members, and she had, I think, gone to the opera. It was Karen. I think she'd gone to the opera, and she said that the singer spoke about this. And I thought that just makes so much sense. It's so true that as a singer, right, you would need to, I think a lot about digestion too. So this might be an easy one for those of us who are not maybe professional singers. But when I digest my food, oftentimes I feel the warmth sort of moving to the inside of my body. So it moves, a lot of my body's energy moves into the center in order to digest. And when that's happening, my extremities might start to get cold. So my fingers get a little cold, my feet get a little cold. I can just feel the outer parts of my body cooling down. That happens when we're stressed. It happens when we're, something's going on. The body will work to protect itself, protect that inner space. And so when we're doing things like digesting, or let's say singing, we need to kind of soften that outer space in order to feel a strengthening in the inner space. And I think that that's true for a lot of the different experiences that we have in the world, that I have been known to be a fighter or a, challenge type of person. And like, I love a challenge and I'll dive right in and, let's go. And what I've found, especially over the decade plus, I think I've been working with Eileen for over 13 years. And as I've been in her field and in this space of the company and the community here that's very relational, I've softened. And I've found that the softening has actually been what's allowed me to heal and to grow. Because when I've come at it head on, I met exactly with that same force. So when I come at it with this, like, this is my idea of strength, that I'm going to fight, that I'm going to push, that I'm going to challenge, then what I'm met with is the exact same thing. And so Francis brought up, how do I stay soft in intense times? And I think part of it is about our perception, but it's also about how we show up to it. If I show up, and our dear friend and recently departed teacher, Wendy Palmer, very much taught us that softening is, she said, it's not about the size of our bicep, but size matters. It's the size of our spirit. And I love that, because when we bring big spirit, big energy into a room, you can feel it. You can feel that sense of like, here, I'm fully in the whole room, right? You could also feel if I'm just sort of timid and I'm not taking up a lot of space and I'm just back here. You can feel the difference. in those two energy qualities. The same is true for this experience of being hard and being, showing up and I'm ready and I'm going to do this and I'm going to be a powerful woman, or which can be useful at times. I've had these customer service moments, wherever it is. But there's also a grace and a softness. And I've had just as many customer service moments where I've brought a softness to it. And that's actually gotten me more than what I had even expected. So there's just a noticing. So I love what Lily brought in, this noticing, this awareness of softness and intensity, awareness of that in my body. So for a moment, I just would like for us to feel into the body today. And one of my teachers, Thomas Hubel, talks about taking a screenshot. So I'd like, when we take a screenshot on the phone or on the computer, we're sort of just getting a snapshot of the current moment, just kind of pauses there. So what I'd like to do is just to take a screenshot of the body right now. And as you do that, noticing where there's softness and maybe where there's more kind of where you might feel, oh, this is strength, or you might feel tension. So just noticing these different places in the body. So you can close your eyes or maybe just soften the gaze. So just disconnecting a little bit from the computer, just feeling a sense of softness in the gaze. And just as if you're taking a snapshot of the body. When I say the body, I mean the physical body, but the emotional body might be very active for you today too. Maybe the brain is also active, the mind. And just noticing, what do I perceive as soft? And what do I perceive as strong? And where is that showing up in my body today? Often to build the inner muscle, it requires relaxing the outer muscles. To build the inner muscle, to build our capacity to be resilient, to build our capacity to be supportive to our community and to ourselves. It requires an outer relaxation, an outer softening. And just in my mind, I picture the opera singer holding herself with this inner core and then softening the outer elements of her body. So I'd like to invite that quality in wherever you may be, wherever you're finding a sense of softness or strength. I'd like you to just envision the spine right now. So just take a picture of the spine in the mind and feel a sense of elongation in the spine. We started with a focus on the feet on the floor and feeling a sense of connection to the ground. And if you're sitting, I'd like you to find a sense of connection to the seat. So the sit bones or the base of the spine on the seat. And from that, again, this experience of, if I want to rise up, I actually need to more strongly root down. So I root down with the spine. Again, it seems like a juxtaposition, but I root down with the spine. And then I can feel a sense of uplift in the chest, in the collarbones, the crown of the head. And feeling that sense of uplift and strength in the spine. Just feeling a softening in the shoulders, softening in the arms and the hands. Softening in the belly. Oftentimes we feel like I need to pull in the belly to be strong. I need a strong core. And what Brene Brown talks about is a strong back and a soft front. And this is actually a practice that is across cultures and religions, but a strong back, almost like a turtle shell, strong back and a soft front. It's allowing our heart to be vulnerable, allowing our core and our belly, our strength of courage to be open, and our back to be strong, to have the wind at our back, to feel supported and to feel whatever may come, strong back, soft front. And perhaps you'd like to stay here just with feeling this place of softness and strength, or perhaps you'd like to do a little exercise. And the exercise is just going to be a squeezing and releasing to feel the difference, to feel the juxtaposition, a squeezing and releasing. And we'll just move through the body, squeezing and releasing and feeling a sense of softening with every release. So I'd like to start with the toes. And again, if this isn't right for you, just stay in your own meditation. And if it is, start with the toes and just squeeze the toes together. Squeeze the toes, squeeze the feet, squeeze the ankles, and release. And then squeeze the toes and the ankles and the legs, the full legs, and then release. Again, squeezing the lower half of the body, the toes, the ankles, calf muscles, the hamstrings, the quads, the glutes. Squeeze, 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 and release. And then squeezing the upper body, squeezing the fists, so making little fists, squeezing the elbows in, squeezing the biceps, the triceps, the shoulders, the back, even the belly, squeezing the face, squeezing the eyes, mouth, and then release. And then I'd like you to take an inhale and a long, slow inhale, squeeze the whole body, squeezing the toes, the feet, the legs, the arms, the base of the body, the torso, the neck, the shoulders. Squeeze, 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 lips, eyes, ears, nose, squeeze, 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 squeeze. And then release and exhale out completely. And then notice any sensation in the body, maybe shaking out the toes, shaking out the hands, shaking out the head and the neck and the jaw, just shaking out, shaking out the shoulders. This one's for Francis. Shaking it all out. There you go. And then just following the breath. Just allowing the breath to come into the places that may have been tense, into the places that you may have found release. Inhale, and then exhale out completely with a big H-A, ha, wherever you are. So just saying that sound. So speaking that sound, we'll do it again. Inhale. And then exhale. Big sigh. We'll do it 2 more times. Inhale. And exhale. 1 more time. Inhale, filling the body, filling all of those little spots, all of them, and then exhale. And just noticing, we'll take a little screenshot of the body again. So you can close your eyes or lower your gaze. Just notice, where are you now? What's the screenshot? What's the snapshot? Maybe just noticing as we loosen some of these spots, maybe some of us heard little cracks, little, you see, Francis, this feels like we should dance afterwards. That's how you know. That's how you know. We get the little warm up, but just noticing what's in the body, what's available to us now. So as we soften, we have more capacity. And for me, strength is actually the capacity that we have. Strength doesn't always mean that I need to use force. It means that I have what I need when I need it. So just finding that capacity in ourselves. Perhaps it's to dance and to celebrate and to just find joy and lightness. And that can take a lot of strength, especially when there are intense things going on. So just recognizing, love the little emojis happening. We've got dancing and mermaids. I love it. Clearly we're doing the right thing. When mermaids come out, it's a good thing is happening. Wonderful. So we're moving. We can feel the juices kind of flowing in the body. And, whether we touched on exactly what it means to you, I'd like you to just notice, what does that experience of softening in order to access strength feel like for you? What is that experience for you? And perhaps there are times then that you've been able to use that. Ellen says inner strength is different than outer strength. I completely agree. And sometimes outer strength can help us cultivate that, getting active and feeling the body present can help us cultivate that inner strength. But sometimes it requires a release of the outer, a relaxation of the outer in order to come to this place of, oh, I'm ready. So just noticing what is it for you, this experience of softening in order to strengthen. So for those of us here in the room, we're going to turn to each other. For those of us on YouTube, I encourage you to journal. If we weren't so anxious to talk to each other in Zoom, I would say that we should take some time and journal here. But in YouTube, if you have time, now's a good time to just journal what's coming up. The juices are flowing. So just noticing what's coming up for me about this topic of softening in order to strengthen. Sometimes the mind gets in the way. And sometimes that's the only thing, that's actually getting in the way. So just noticing what is that experience for you, softening in order to strengthen. So we're going to turn to each other here on Zoom, and we're going to just connect in a small group and share a name, where we're coming from, and anything that's coming up about this topic. And what I'd like to remind you is that we're giving each other the gift of listening. Last week we did was it last week? Yeah. That we did this deep exercise on generous listening, and just really reconnecting with, what does it mean to give myself the gift of listening, and what does it mean for me to give someone else the gift of listening? So just being with whatever that might also bring up for you here, and just recognizing that we're in that constant practice of generous listening. So each week as we come together, we practice. We're just practicing. That's it. Sometimes we do great, and sometimes here's some room for improvement. So it's not about being perfect going into these groups. It's not about, finding the exact right person or thing or story or whatever it is. It's just noticing what's there, noticing what's up for us, and giving each other the gift of listening. So with that, I'll invite you to enjoy the time together. We'll have about 20 minutes, and then we can have a few comments and thoughts at the end. So enjoy the time together. Those of you on YouTube, we'll see you next week. And here on Zoom, enjoy the time. See you back in 20.